So in 2015, we went on one of our holidays to Portugal. And I remember we took the girls out to the beach. And on this particular occasion, 3 days into our 2-week holiday, Eddie had complained of not feeling too well. And I remember we were taking pictures and he looked at his picture and he said, "Oh, I don't like the way my face looks." And so he took a sip of water and still complained that the water didn't taste right. So I said, "You know what, let me ring the doctor in London and see if we can get some advice." Something in my spirit just didn't feel right. But incidentally, there was a private clinic opposite where we lived. And so I went there, the doctor checked him over, said that it was a stroke, and sent us to another hospital. And they said, well, he basically has got what they call a cervical stenosis to the spine, which means basically in layman's terms, there's a compression on his spinal cord. But what they said to me was, if there was any sudden impact, it would sever his spinal cord or there would be a blood clot to the brain. So they have to do an emergency surgery. So the operation was done. Operation was successful. 2 days after the op, he gets an infection in the wound and all hell breaks loose. He's not able to wash himself, feed himself, use the bathroom. He's literally paralyzed. We end up having to spend 3 months in Portugal. Thankfully, because of the travel insurance, we get flown back via air ambulance. 3.5 years later, so much happens in between that time. It was hell. I spent 3.5 years nursing Eddie, and it was very difficult for me to even say what killed my husband because it wasn't anything to do with what happened before. He had had some problems with pain concerning his hip and what have you, and had a steroid injection. And 3 days later, he was gone. That sudden death for me was devastating. I wasn't working. In fact, I was supposed to start a new contract that morning, the morning that he passed away. There was no finances there. I mean, we'd had a house we'd sold, and the money from that had gone because obviously we're trying to run a house. But it turns out after he passed away that his workplace, there was provision for me, which was a shock because I actually didn't know that was there. And I cannot tell you how life-changing that was for us because our daughter had just started secondary school. Just having that payout helped me to look at long-standing debts like credit card debts, which they really are the worst. Receiving that payout allowed me the luxury of taking my time to plan and not have a knee-jerk reaction to my circumstances. So it allowed me to just live like a human being with some dignity, quite frankly. Watching his health decline was hard enough. What I didn't need was having any financial issues on top of me trying to grieve. I found hope in the middle of my loss, thanks to the payout. Ensure your family's future at mumsurance.co.uk.